Welcome back to Mid Morning Talk. And yes, we are now well into early afternoon, and we are acknowledging this being Charity Week. The focus is actually acknowledging those those humanitarians, for me, true humanitarians who make it their life mission to serve humanity, to empower others so that they can come out from their difficult, ill resource circumstances and just change their status quo. And hopefully, this is inspiration and it has a roll on effect for generations to come. So, when I think of humanitarians or humanitarian personified, I have a few. Individuals that I'm in awe of. I'm so pleased I have the privilege of connecting with them, and also I have this platform to acknowledge them as well, being a humanitarian online platform. And one such sister, since I met her many years ago, I attended many functions and talks where she was a guest in terms of what she does to empower female learners and young adults, and this has been her life mission, and her circumstances is empowerment, and it's a struggle, but she gets there and she gets things done. So I'm pleased that today I'm talking to on this platform, and that is Sister Mooniba Bhyat, and she says, my different work experience have been a journey of growth in all areas of my life. And this is very true about, she lives by this mantra: a strong woman stands up for herself, a stronger woman stands up for others. So I'd like to welcome Sister Mooniba Bhyat to our show today, to acknowledge her as well. She has been in various roles and capacities, for everything from being a manager at a dental laboratory to being part of the Dignity Dream. She also sat on the board of the Islamic Care Line. She's climbed Mount Erebus as well. She's part of a hiking group that has grown exponentially, and now she is the founding director of DARE. We're going to ask her what that acronym stands for, but let's welcome her to Salam Media. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Muniba, and welcome to Salam Media.
Wa alaikum assalam. Miriam, Jazakallah for having me on your show, and looking forward to share some of my life's journey with your audience.
So yes, okay, let's just do this because everybody is now thinking, what is the acronym DARE? What do you dare us about? What is this DARE? So please, before we go into your life journey, and that's now currently this is your latest venture, your baby, something that you had in a pipeline and yearning for a long time, and now it's finally come to fruition. So please explain to us this acronym. What does DARE stand for?
Okay, so Miriam, I think people kind of know my personality's always been where I've dared a lot of things that people would not really venture into, and I think that's one of the strengths that I have, alhamdulillah. So 7 years ago, I was at a new season in my life, and I was looking at what could I do that would give me a new purpose in life, something that would keep me engaged and give me, the joy that I actually want to achieve every single year in what I do. And thinking about how and what impact I could have on young women, and also just creating more empowerment programs for people to be able to join up with all the different, sort of initiatives I was busy with. So thinking about a name, and I think it was just one day while I was walking, and I just thought, I've always been this daring person, and the name came up, and I'm like, okay, so DARE is exactly what I am, and DARE also stands for developing ambitious, resilient entrepreneurs. So it tied in very nicely with what I wanted to achieve in the 7 years. And it was the beginning of a journey. And under the banner of DARE, obviously, I've done lots of amazing empowerment programs. And you mentioned some of that earlier on in your introduction to me. So yes, I have. I do wear a lot of hats. But I enjoy every single one of it. I'm never bored, and I thoroughly enjoy all the different fields of empowerment that I work in. can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Okay, can you hear me? Let me just then start again. So, as I mentioned, when I picture you, I think of Sister Muniba. It's when people, I see myself as somebody who connects individuals or
I can hear you.
organizations, and whenever there is an appeal made for sanitary and hygiene products for young girls, for teenagers, so that they can continue the schooling. They don't stay off from school purely because they don't have access to hygiene packs and things like that. I think of Sister Muniba as the person, my go-to person who can assist them, who can put things together. So you got involved with firstly Dignity Dreams, then DARE, but not only, it wasn't limited to this, but in terms of empowering a female learner, the Girl Child Project and that. So when did that become, and what informed your passion in that direction? Muniba, can you hear me? Yes, so I'm just going to get our technicians
All
to
right.
sort out.
Just to
Can you
quickly
hear
cover
me,
that,
Muniba?
it was based on the fact that I was a young girl. Can you hear Miriam?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, so I think the whole you started off with the fact that 6 years ago in the work I was doing, I found really got my my alarm bells ringing because I was one of the young girls that never given the opportunity of finishing my high school schooling. So I did research and I found out young girls were missing school because they couldn't afford sanitary pads. So I looked for a sustainable solution. And that's how I got involved at that time with Dignity Dreams, because I had a sewing background and I'd done research on a washable pad. So from there onwards, it was a work in progress. I designed a pad which I shared with the founder at that time of Dignity Dreams. But my bigger vision always was to have skills development programs and to also take it globally and also into every province. So, I worked around that. I started sharing the concept of skills and development of young women in schools from that time onwards. And I did a lot of groundwork. So I was, the voiceover on 702 for educating people about the plight of the young girl child, because at that time a lot of people didn't know about the period poverty that we call today. And that time it was just girls are missing 5 days of school, which became 30 days in a year, and then eventually they dropped out of school. So that's what motivated me to actually start this. And I, worked around that. So I made an effort to kind of fundraise in different areas with different organizations, with different corporates. And everywhere I went, I had to present what the problem was and then look at how we could get funding. And then in 2018, I decided I wanted to climb a mountain. And I thought, well, if I'm climbing a mountain and I'm going to be doing something that's going to create awareness, why not create awareness for the girl child and the plight of the young girl child? So I asked the group that I was climbing with whether they would be part of that whole initiative. And that's how we went up to Mount Elbrus in Russia, and we climbed for a purpose, and we raised funds for 2 cutting machines. So that's where it all started off from. So the cutting machines and the sewing is all part of the 17 global sustainable solutions that we're looking at to make sure that by the year 2030, we've got solutions that empower women, youth, and young men to be able to have some kind of an income and be earning their own keep. But the nice thing about that is that one is where you're doing skills development, but for me, the passion of making sure that every single young girl that I go to school with and meet with understands what a menstrual cycle is all about, because a lot of them are ignorant about the fact that they have a period, and once they get that period's on for 40 years, and how that's going to affect their lives going forward. And that the fact that once they've got their period, if they have no access to menstrual health products, how that's going to affect them. So I do a lot of mentorship. I do a lot of programs at school. I link myself up to schools, and I go to I meet with principals, and then I go into the schools and I do a 45-minute session with young girls, and we talk about periods, we talk about menstrual health, we talk about fertility, So it's a really, really lovely space to be in.
Let me, my apologies, I've switched off the mic, I've turned my mic on. So as I was listening to you, what captivated me in what you said is it's not like you just go to school and you hand up maybe a whole carton of sanitary pads to the principal and say, yeah, off you go. When your female learners require it, they can come and have access to it. No, no. Yours is a holistic program. You have aims and objectives in mind. There's an education component. There's aligned to it. You have 17 global sustainable goals that you'd like to achieve. You've set yourself a time frame to achieve those. So it's a well thought of plan, and it's holistic by nature. So it's empowerment. And then I look at uh, the empowerment center where you have that you're empowering maybe young adults, maybe stay-at-home moms, or somebody who isn't skilled. You're upskilling them. So for me, it's a continuous cycle of empowerment, 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 and it's not just a matter of purchasing sanitary towels and dropping it off at various schools. So let's start. What can you just name some of the 17 your global sustainable goals, just so that our listeners can understand what are those goals that you are aiming for our young learners?
All right. Yes, sure, with pleasure, Miriam. I will. Basically, your 17 sustainable goals, what we align ourselves to as DARE, is we end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Okay, you end hunger and achieve food security and improvement, because people that earn money can be able to buy their own products and their own food, ensure healthy lives, and promote well-being of all ages of the women that we work with. We obviously also ensure inclusive and equality in quality education and promoting our product. We achieve gender equality and empowering of women and young girl child. We also achieve and make sure that we ensure availability and sustainability, because that's one of the big things about our pad being a holistic product. It's not something that a young girl will just get at school and not be able to use it. The pad that we've designed lasts for 4 years. We also, we sort of promote sustainable, inclusive economic growth, and it's productive. We've got employment, and it's decent work in decent environments that we create. We built a really resilient infrastructure that helps people to understand that it's a whole holistic program that we're doing. It makes cities and human settlements also inclusive, because I do have sewing centers in settlements where they're living in squatter camps, but they have access to a sewing machine. We also take urgent action into the climate change, because one of the things that we are kind of creating awareness around is that the disposable pad takes 800 years to decompose. So the more we throw, less waste we throw away, the more we can save our environment, and conserve our sustainable solutions to our oceans, to the marine resources, and make it sustainable on a holistic level. To protect and restore and promote sustainable use of, forests, combat and reverse any land degradation that happens through obviously these toxins that are out in the air with our wastage that we throw out. And we also promote a peaceful and exclusive society, part of our sustainable solution, and promote justice for all, and build effective and accountable inclusive institutions for everybody. So all our training centers are inclusive of everybody. There's no discrimination against race or culture or people or ages. Everybody is welcome to be part of our sustainable solutions, and it strengthens and revitalizes the global partnership that we are creating as part of our sustainable development program. So, if anybody wants to know more information about those 17 goals that I align myself to, they're most welcome to send me an email, and I can share more of that information with them.
Mooniba, thank you for that. I think in discussing your sustainable development goals, those are very much aligned to those washable sanitary hygiene packs that have been developed, that you empower people that are sewing currently. So just tell us a bit about the actual pack. What does it consist of?
Okay, so I do have a little sample pack. Yes, I'll just show it to all your listeners or audience. That's basically the little bag, okay, that we give out to all the young girls. In the bag, we do 6 of these pits. That's our pad. That's the front,
Oh, they're
and
very
that's the
trendy,
back.
Muniba.
And the
They're
nice
very
thing about them,
fashionably and
they
they're very
are.
trendy. Mm.
Yes, and I've color coded and they're beautifully made. So you can see our program is also doing well. I've trained them to make sure that they give me the quality that I want. And it was work in progress. And when I fold the pad, and when the young girls get the 6 pads, this is what it looks like. So it's folded up into a nice little pocket. And this is how they get them. And when they use them, they take them to school, they take them in this, this folded position, and then they open them up and they can use them. So it's designed like every other pad where they could use that wing as part of what they put onto their panties. So it doesn't move around when doing it. Okay. This section that I'm actually putting my fingers on is 4 layers. And this has been, designed so that 4 layers make sure that if I had to take 18 milliliters of water, it wouldn't pour through and it wouldn't drip down the pad. It's protecting them. It gives them the density they desire, and they can use this pad for 2 hours. Okay. Once they've used it and they take it home, they're going to obviously fold it up again like this and take it home in that position. And then when they get home, they wash it. And if they're drying it, we've made it look like a, so that when hanging it out, nobody actually knows the pad. So that's
Very,
all the
very
thought that we've
discreet.
put through in
Yeah,
making
I'm
sure
seeing
that
very,
it's a
very
very, very
discreet
colorful,
and yeah,
color-coded,
very discreet, and it has
dignified little
confidence
pads
in.
as a
Yes,
result.
for me, people might be thinking, oh, it's a different kind of a mask. I think maybe with the mask and the things, people might think, oh, okay, this looks like a new fashionable mask. So even the, adult members or male members of a family, and it's out there. I mean, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't think it's a sanitary towel. And as you've mentioned, when these specs are distributed, you have an information session, a briefing session at school in terms of how to use it, how to clean it, and you mentioned, is it easy to wash? What do you need to wash them so that they can be reused?
Yes. So it's very easy to wash because remember, we work in some areas where people are really poor. So when we've gone and we've handed these pads out to even rural areas, every single home has got sunlight soap. So all the young girls need to do is wash it with sunlight soap, and they can use their gray water to wash the pad. And the only thing they need is a liter of water to desanitize and soften it. So we've taught them how to use a tablespoon of salt to do that. And it's very hygienically clean. And what we do is when we go and do the handout, we do a demonstration of how the girls have to keep it clean. I also put a washing instruction in the pack with my contact details on there. So if they're not sure how it works, they're welcome to call us and I can assist and help them. We then follow that up with a 3-month follow-up feedback session. So we go back to the schools and we ask the girls, are you using the sanitary pads? Has it made a difference in your life? And I have not had any school girl, young girl child come back to me and say it hasn't made a difference in her life. So, and we've also checked that that they're washing them correctly. And the school has, normally the person, the HOD or whoever's in charge of the young girl child would come back to us and say that the kids have said that they've had less infections and allergies and things with our pads than they've had with disposable pads. So it's definitely
Munira,
working and it works out.
Mhm. Muniba, before I let you go, tell me if anybody listening out there would like to get involved in terms of assisting you, whereby we can be a means of being involved in this project to then reach out, especially because, I mean, that was a need. Young girls couldn't afford the cost of sanitary pads, hence the project came out and they were staying at home, maybe using rags or I don't know, newspaper, what it is previously, or just sitting it out at home. So how do we how can we get involved in terms of your project to support the maybe the empowerment segment of it where you're sewing it, or then to assist in terms of purchasing for distribution? Is there a website, or do you have an Instagram page, or how does one get, or even an organization get involved?
Okay, so at the moment, my website's under construction, but they're most welcome to call me for now or WhatsApp me if they don't mind on 082 779 5090, or they can email me on Mooniba, as I spell it, MOONIBA, at DARE, DARE, a number 2, b.co.za. So I can share more information with them on both levels, whether it's the skills development or in terms of the funding and helping me to get into areas where they may be living or working, and they want to fund a school or support my fundraisers. I'm more than happy to share that information with them.
Mooniba, it's been an absolute pleasure. We can chat on a variety of different topics. As you've said, you wear many hats, but good luck on this one. And as promised earlier, I think off air, I'd like to join one of your hikes. I know from 2018 you started a hiking club. It's grown exponentially. I mean, when I network and I meet people in other circles, they ask me if I know you and why am I not hiking? And that is a question. Why am I not hiking? So the next hike, please do inform me. So Mariam Mia and Salam Media can be there at your next hike, hopefully. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
Awesome.
Good luck for your project. And maybe we'd like to, maybe in the future, my colleague Nafisa Dengo does outdoor broadcasts, and maybe we could join you in terms of one of your handouts where you go to schools, and we can just feature one of those handout sessions and maybe do a collaboration there. Sterling work indeed. Mooniba Bhyat, founding member of DARE. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
We're going to take a short break, and then we into educational insights, my baby. And today speaking about rewards and recognitions, and this is Shakira Akbar, and she is a postgraduate fellow, and we're going to discuss her research findings. All this after the break.